Welcome into Morning Invest, the vacation edition of Morning Invest. Good to see all of you this morning. I have shaved. I know some of you were saying yesterday, well, Clayton, you didn't shave. I did shave today just for you, although I do feel like absolute crap. I will admit, I am actually pretty sick. I got whatever my son had and my wife had, so I am not feeling very well. But we soldier on, right? We soldier on, so I wanted to do a show today and say hello to all of you. Welcome into Morning Invest. Today we're going to be looking at the Republican National Convention, day one. We're going to be looking at Joe Biden's tax plan. We'll also look at the stimulus and why I do not think, based on the timeline, and we'll go into some details here on this, why I don't think we're going to see a comprehensive stimulus plan anytime soon. So all of that and more on the show today. Good to see everyone. Welcome in, welcome in. This is our little pre-show. I like to welcome in everyone before we get started here. Good morning, everyone. Did I have a hard drive failure? I don't know. No, I don't think it's a hard drive failure. I don't know what happened, actually. So I've got to, yeah, my MacBook Pro is dead. So unfortunately, I've had to go to backup plan B here. So I will not be able to show any videos. I will not be able to do all of that, unfortunately. So bummed, totally bummed. So while I'm traveling, I would use my MacBook Pro with one of the best MacBook Pro software for streaming, which is Ecamm Live. That enables me to bring in videos and do all sorts of different things. But am I okay with the sound, guys? I missed a spot on the lower side of my chin. Man, you guys are perceptive. How about this? Why don't I take out this microphone? So what I'm using is, I was using this with a windscreen because I'm outside. The road, now is it better? Let me know if the sound is better now. The problem is that if it gets too windy, it could be too windy. Let me know. Okay. Yeah, I know. You go on vacation, you get sick. Exactly. So, yeah, sounds better? Okay, I took that out. If you do hear some extra wind, it shouldn't be too bad right here. These like banana trees behind me. Hopefully it's not, if it gets too windy, let me know, and I will put back on the old little windscreen thing. So we've got a lot to get to on the show today. We're going to be talking about the Republican National Convention, day one, the highlights and lowlights of that sort of monstrosity last night. We're going to look at the shooting in Wisconsin and what's happening there. We're also going to be looking at Joe Biden's tax plan. Oh, banana plants, they're not trees. Thank you very much. There's always someone that knows something out there. See, I learned something. It's not a tree, it's a banana plant. Thank you. And we're going to be looking at the latest on the stimulus news. I am not impressed, and I'm a little worried, to be honest with you, about what's going to happen with this, why a second stimulus check does not look like it's coming. So we'll go through those details on the show this morning. Yeah, I do miss my Grover. How many of you got the the newsletter this morning? I hope you did. Let me, you got your newsletter? Yep, you did. Anna Garcia. Brian says he got his. Brian, is it Brian Bacon? Yes. Frank Ledbetter, good. Bonnie Beck says, yes, it was good. Thank you so much. Susan Heiferman got it. John Shanks got it. Awesome. Ken Pinette got it. So Fridays, guys, all of our channel members, thank you to everyone who's a channel member. Friday, we're going to be starting something new. So our team has been looking at some new channel badges that we're going to roll out, some different designs of Grover and some things. So all of our channel members, we're starting some different tiers as well. I'm super excited. And Friday, we're going to be doing a members only chat. So the live show will still continue, but then we'll have the members only chat, which will open it up towards the end of the show for members only chat. So that'll be the only thing different. You don't have to worry about it, but it is something nice for all of our channel members who support us here. Thank you, who just became a channel member. Insane Angel became a bronze level. Thank you so much. It helps keep the lights on around here and helps us able to do this show. Angel Love. John Wheeler, nice to see you. Brian Muser got it. Good, good, good. Ken Roy Ellis, you're in Belize, and you got the newsletter. I know, I can't wait to get back and see Grover. That's one thing. So, like I said, yesterday there was a couple that was staying in the room next to us, and they had they had a little dachshund with them. Yes, Katie Monroe, you do, but if you're just subscribed, that's great too. But we have a channel membership which just lets you go up like an extra tier and support the show. So no big deal, but thank you so much. So the people next to us had this little dachshund named Oscar, and my kids were playing with him, and they were saying, "Oh, we could have brought Grover." So I do miss Grover. So we get to see him tomorrow. So we're gonna tomorrow, based on our travel, I'm hoping we'll have a live show. We'll see. I don't know that we'll be able to tomorrow, but we are going to try. So we should be able to. But Jose wants to know how you become a channel member. Very simply, there's a join button right on our channel page. Right on our channel page, just hit the join button. Good morning, everyone. Christian Monroe. Naked Golfer says, I hope Grover is not being abused. No. He's at he's basically at a pet sitter's house that they have this like farm. So it's all these dogs. He has a blast when he's there. He just plays the whole time. Jason says the RNC had their dog whistles out last night. That's for sure. Roseanne, don't worry about it, Roseanne Mason. Don't worry about it. We miss Grover. I miss Grover too. Okay, shall we start the show? We got a few thousand people here. Terre Haute, Indiana. Good to see you. What is the name of the book reading website again? The book reading website again. Book reading website. Ramonda says, what is the book reading website? Book reading website. I'm not sure I understand. Book reading website. I don't know. I'm not sure I understand. You guys got the sound is okay? Everyone's good on the sound? Thank you to our new channel members. Tia Nelson became a channel member. Who else just became a channel member? Noel. Or Noel. Is it Noel or Noel? Whittle. Thank you so much. Oh, Goodreads. I'm sorry. Yeah. The name of the channel, the book reading website is Goodreads. So it's just a social media for book lovers. So you can follow me on Goodreads if you like. You know, what I do is I put my shelf up there of the books that I'd like to read, what books I have read, books that I'm currently reading. So I'm almost finished with this Jack Reacher book on vacation. Walter Smith Jr. is a new channel member. Thank you so much. Yes, and smash that like button. We have 432 likes right now, and we've got nearly 3,000 members right now. Can you smash that like button? Thank you, T. Ming. Appreciate it. Thank you to all the channel members. And we're going to get started in a moment talking about the stimulus as well as updates from the RNC. Yeah, my thumbnail today. People are like, what's the thumbnail? Me driving with the kids. I'm very excited for them to go back to school. This photo was taken literally just as they had just gotten done smacking each other, and we had to yell at them for hitting each other in the car, in the rental car. Typical. Okay. Thank you for smashing that like button. Thank you for your $5 super chat, David Yarborough. I appreciate that. We got a new channel member, Michael Lyles. Thank you so much. Another new channel member as well, Walter Smith Jr. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. You guys signed up on Weeble. That's awesome, Noel. I missed my... Yeah, I can't play my Come On, Man. Where do you sign up for the newsletter? Just go to morninginvest.com. Morninginvest.com. Okay. All right, and let's get started with the show, shall we? This is the vacation edition of Morning Invest from the road. This is right before the kids head back to school, so we are traveling. My MacBook Pro completely died. I am not feeling well at all. Like literally bad. So I apologize if I'm not on my game today, but I do want to bring you the news all the same, even without some video elements. Much love to you guys. Okay. All right, and here we go. Let's talk about the 5 things that I think you need to know about today on Morning Invest. First, welcome into the show. If you're new here, thank you so much for subscribing, being a part of our great community. This is the only morning business show for real people, not Wall Street types. This is where we help you make more money, keep more money in your pocket. That's the entire aim of this show, is financial intelligence. So, welcome into today's show. We've got a couple of big stories we're following for you this morning, as well as a deep dive on where we're at in the stimulus and whether or not we're going to see a stimulus plan at all. And I'll give you some sort of ominous signs that really have me scared about whether or not Congress is going to make a move on an entire stimulus package. Yes, I don't have any water, so I'm not feeling very well today. So if I have to get up and run, try to grab some water, or end the live stream early, that's because I'm not feeling well. So anyway, but if I don't drink, you will feel better. I haven't been drinking. I caught whatever my son and my wife had, so it's been water. It's been water. Yeah, it's not been good. Anyway, let's deep dive what's going on today in the news. Let's start with the Republican National Convention. So the Republican National Convention, day one yesterday, and it was, well, let me just give you the high level. We wrote about this in the newsletter today. And really, I mean, this is no joke. These were all of the things that you need to worry about if you don't vote for Trump. This is what was said last night. Marxists, communists, radical leftists, hostiles, anarchists, tyrannists, radical Islamic terrorism, socialists, cosmopolitans, like, isn't that one of those ice cream sandwiches, by the way? And, I'm not making this up, you need to worry about the Loch Ness Monster. These are all the things that were said last night, that in the fear if President Trump loses the November election. These were all things mentioned by different speakers throughout the night. If you read any of the major publications this morning, even conservative publications, they were calling it like a doom and gloom first night of the Republican convention, that it's like the end of the world if President Trump is not elected again in November. And folks, make no mistake about what we saw last night. Let me contextualize here what exactly we watched last night. If you were watching it and you were saying, my God, what is this? This convention was not aimed at people who are on the fence about voting for Trump. This was about shoring up his base, which have really gotten scared of a second term of Trump presidency. These are the white suburban voters. This thing was tailored to white people that live in the suburbs, that if you don't vote for Trump, you better cash in your chips now, because guess what? The people of dark skin are coming for you. I mean, that's literally what was said last night. You better watch out, because the anarchists are coming for you in the suburbs. And I mean, I was not surprised by it at all. You had that group, you had that couple, of course, that you had that couple that ended up having their guns in their front yard. They spoke last night, and they talked about how the suburbs are under siege, and that you better watch out, because it was that gun-toting St. Louis couple. They said your family will not be safe in a radical Democrat America. Okay. Did you feel unsafe during the Clinton years? Did you feel like the suburbs were under attack when Bill Clinton was president? I'm just asking. I love this fear mongering, but make no mistake, the entire point of this night was exactly what Sarah Isagor said. I loved what she said on Twitter. She's a reporter. She said, if you're mocking what you're hearing tonight, and I'm quoting her on Twitter, she said, if you're mocking what you're hearing tonight, you're highlighting how little you understand about Trump's voters and what a turnout operation looks like. Perfect summation of last night. Let me read that again, because this sums it up better than anything you're going to hear today. So good job, Sarah Isagor. I'm not taking credit for this. You're highlighting how little you understand about Trump's voters and what a turnout operation looks like. That's exactly what last night was like. It was targeting that 37% of people, making sure that they get out to vote. These are the 37% that literally Trump could walk up and shoot their dog and they'd still vote for him. That's how it is in every party. There's always that 35% that no matter what happens, they will always vote for their party because of some crazy dogma, that they've only voted Republican their entire life, and no matter what, literally that Republican could come up and shoot your dog, and you would still say, you know what, I didn't even like the dog, I'm still voting for you. Same thing with Democrats. They will never vote for a Republican because they believe in that dogma. And I also think that's very dangerous. Like, you can't change your mind based on facts. That's really troubling to me. It's that ideologue mentality. Again, that's why I'm an independent. Because of that exact reason. So anyway, that's what we're targeting. That's exactly what we're targeting. That's exactly what the RNC night one was last night. It was going right after those people who are sitting on the fence about voting because they think that Trump's got it locked up, and they voted for him last time, but they just don't have the energy and enthusiasm maybe that they had in 2016. So right now, no, they're going to sit on their hands. Well, we just got breaking news that Laura is now a hurricane. That's not good news. So breaking news, Laura is now a hurricane. I hope everyone is staying safe down there. But boy, that's the dual tropical storm and hurricane systems going down there. So, yeah, I mean, it was, again, I think that that's a very important point that Sarah Isagor made. But 2.5 hours of the RNC's night one, and it was really damning, in my opinion, last night, that no one, not one speaker, mentioned that the number of deaths right now in the United States from COVID is now 177,000. No mention of it. No mention of this death toll. The highest in the world. No mention of it. Trump's great. He's done such a great job with this COVID response. That was Don Jr. last night. Don Jr. basically said that Joe Biden is like Loch Ness Monster, that he surfaces every few years to run for president and then sinks back into the swamp. Okay. Also, Loch Ness is not a swamp, it's a lake. But there were some really painful moments last night. There were some really painful moments. Like Nikki Haley's comments that America, she said, is not a racist country, she said. Okay. I don't think a country is inherently racist. But then when you see what has been unfolding the past 48 hours in Wisconsin, which is the second big story of Jacob Blake, of course, the shooting there, and she says America is not racist, proclaimed Nikki Haley. Racial protests, though, raged overnight against the shooting of the 29-year-old unarmed black man named Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. We don't know the full extent exactly of what happened, but the protests quickly turned violent. Fires erupting, fires roared in the city after the video surfaced of Blake being shot 7 times at close range in the back. Somehow he's going to survive. Somehow he was going back to get to his 3 kids that were in the car when he was shot in the back 7 times. Protesters met police there with protective gear. And, we know this all too well. If you're American, you know this all too well right now. And Governor Tony Evers has called in 125 members of the National Guard to deal with the protests there. So, again, I guess your suburbs are under siege, and this is because of I'm so floored by the sort of tone deaf. Really, no mention of George Floyd, no mention of the dead from COVID, just praising President Trump for his response. Unbelievable. Carrie says, watch how many unsubscribe after today. Very sad, Clayton. Oh, I don't care. Here's the thing. I agree. If we get unsubscribes on our channel because I'm talking truth about what happened last night, then those are people that I do not want subscribed to my channel. I have been critical of Democrats. I will be critical of Republicans. I will be critical where critical is needed. Okay? So if someone unsubscribes because they don't like hearing the truth, I do not want those people on my channel. I do not want those people on my channel. Exactly. I do not at all. You know, I remember a few years ago, Conan O'Brien saying when he was working on his show, you have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. And that's how I feel. I mean, we are suffering as a nation in ways that you cannot possibly wrap your head around. If you're like a 1%er, or you're like, you know, in your high palace, you know, spending, you know, making billions of dollars during this pandemic, you live in your, you know, your crystal palace. You know, people are hurting, and we're going to go through some of the names here. Carla M. Carla, I absolutely have been critical of Democrats. Have you not heard me rail against them sticking marijuana into their HEROES Act, or inflated pork inside the HEROES Act, like immigration, money for immigrants, money for illegal aliens, money for cannabis? I've definitely been critical of them. In fact, I was critical of Nancy Pelosi just yesterday, talking about if she's dragging her feet on this, you know, shame on her. If she's dragging her feet on the stimulus, shame on her. Because if she wants state and local government bailouts for pensions, shame on her. So, you know, I've absolutely been critical of Democrats. But again, who cares? We all have differences. We all have differences of opinion. But last night, make no mistake about it, was absolutely, yeah, what about Trump's sister? I'm not gonna, yeah, and I haven't, I haven't even brought up Trump's sister. That's not a story that I even could cover, because I haven't been able to get the sound from it. Trump's sister being critical of her brother, Donald Trump, saying that he has no moral compass, etc. On and on, you know. But I also, if someone unsubscribes because they can't handle a difference of opinion, then great. I don't want someone like that. I literally saw someone a week or so ago say, I can't listen to any more of this when it was a speech about, it was a Trump's. Like, okay, so you just can't even listen to another opinion? You're so ideologically or dogmatically focused on what you believe that you cannot listen to another side? That's fine. But you know, where I come from these days, folks, I really believe that America is, well, look, when we see what's happening right now up against China, when China's economy, here's one of the other big stories I'm following, and it leads a perfect segue into China's economy and how China is now gaining ground on the United States and is about to overtake the United States. Okay? Across China, right now, restaurants, gyms are busy again. Subway cars, airport departure lounges are packed. Children are preparing to return to classrooms with almost no restrictions. And it's going to be the hallmark of the post-coronavirus. In some schools, children are being asked to bring masks, but they don't have to wear them. This is in China, okay? The coronavirus has been smothered for now, thanks to they did major lockdowns. JP Morgan recently boosted its 2020 China growth forecast to 2.5% from 1.3% in April. And they're basically saying in the US, they're downgrading us, could shrink by as much as 8% in 2020. China up, the US down. Now, if you don't think that that's a response at the federal level, then I don't know what kind of more evidence you need than that. The U.S., which could shrink by 8%, it's also buttressing Beijing's belief that China's state-led model, which helped the country navigate the financial crisis with minimal pain, is better than the U.S.'s market system. That's what J.P. Morgan is basically saying. They're basically saying that because the state stepped in and basically said, we're shutting down, we're putting in very strict measures to get rid of this. Now they can reopen, and now kids are able to go back to school. They don't even have to wear masks. Businesses are reopened. Airports are open. I mean, just think about that for a minute and this sort of haphazard approach to our response. Look at what Oregon is doing this morning. So Oregon this morning is rolling out their own stimulus. So that's not my fact. That's Oregon. Oregon is rolling out their own stimulus, $500 to those who qualify, because they've had it with the federal government. So Oregon is saying, you know what, we're rolling out our own plan, and we are absolutely going to, we're going to make sure that everyone's taken care of. They have about 70,000 people that they can provide for. But Oregon is coming out with its own stimulus because the federal government has totally fallen apart. And we have no stimulus plan at the national level. Mike B says, Clayton, China plans 20 years ahead of everyone else. Yeah. You know, the thing is, the way that I feel, let me just say the way that I feel about our economy and where I come from. So if we want to talk about what does it mean to be a conservative, okay? What does it mean to be a liberal? What does it mean to be socially conservative? What does it mean to be fiscally conservative? And I would say, yes, I am a fiscal conservative. I have been for many, many years. I don't like buying liabilities. I don't like wasting money. I like buying performing assets. That's why I invest in real estate and precious metals. Those are my focus. That's my focus. I don't believe in buying new cars. I buy used cars if I ever buy them. We have one car. I have like 5 shirts that I wear. I just don't waste money on stupid stuff. I spend money on things that I'm going to use for my business, that I'm going to get value out of for my family, taking trips or experiences. Those are really important to me. But I'm also aware that Americans are suffering. And so when you have this enormous income inequality in this country, there is a major problem. And we are only as strong as our weakest among us. And when you have people that can't feed their family, I mean, like the data I gave you yesterday, when I talked about the people that cannot feed their family, they're having to give up on certain meals just to provide right now because of what's going on, because they're fallen beneath the poverty level, because they don't have a stimulus plan. And Wall Street is doing totally fine. And you have members of this administration, when they do interviews, where do they go? They go on Fox Business and they go on CNBC. Why? Because they're talking to their base. They're talking to the rich people, and they're telling them that, hey, you don't have anything to worry about. What we've done with the PPP program, we've taken care of you. That's why they go on those shows. Remember, watch what they do, not what they say. And what they do is they do interviews on CNBC, Fox Business, and Bloomberg, talking to Wall Street people, letting them know that their stimulus has been strong. Their PPP stimulus has been great. What the Federal Reserve has been doing by keeping the liquidity in the market has been great. But they are not talking to you and me. They are not telling Americans that you're going to get another $1,200 stimulus check anytime soon. They are not telling you that you're going to get an unemployment benefits at $600 extended through the end of the year. They are not telling you that they're going to extend the SNAP program for food right now to provide for families. They are not. And so unless you're not hooked up right, that should bother you. And you might want to sit there and say, great, but where are we going to get all this money? I'm a conservative. Where are we going to get all this money? Stop lying to yourself, okay? If you're a conservative, stop lying to yourself. When you have a $900 billion a year defense budget, where we line the pockets of defense contractors, and then you're labeled a non-patriot when you say we shouldn't be spending that much money on F-18 fighter craft and things that we don't even need, just so we can line the pockets of defense contractors, you're lying to yourself. You're being fooled, and you're being told somehow through messaging that you're not a patriot because you want to spend less money on the military than you do for schools, so that teachers don't have to buy their own school supplies, and that people can actually have food on their table and be able to be provided for while they get a job and get back into the economy. You know, if you're telling yourself, well, where are we going to get this money? Just look at what the Fed has done for Wall Street, where the Fed has said we can print as much money as we want. We're keeping inflation at 2%. Wall Street is happy. Their S&P 500 has just hit a record. If you are thinking that we cannot afford to print this money and then to borrow against this debt, which is 0% interest right now, you're lying to yourself. The Fed should and could be able to step in and provide a stimulus check to the American people through a Federal Reserve bank account. But they're not going to. Maybe they will, but it's in the hands of Congress right now. And when things are in the hands of Congress, we know how it goes. They don't get anything done. So, yes, I'm a fiscal conservative, but I'm also fairly socially liberal. I don't care. I don't care if you want to get married to whomever you want to get. I do not care. You are not an affront to me. And we've got a lot bigger issues to worry about in this country than that. I mean, just look at the rest of the world, which is way more older and grown up. We're like toddlers right now compared to the rest of the world in a lot of respects. Some of these, European countries look at us and like, what is wrong with you guys, really? So that's where I'm at. I just don't think you're hooked up right. If you are, you're sitting there telling me that you're a conservative, okay, and you're sitting there saying that everything is fine. You're fine in your suburban house right now, and that you don't care about what's going on in the inner cities, on people that can't afford to pay to put food on their table for their kids. And these kids who cannot get enough money, they don't have enough money, and they're going to be, these families of these kids in poverty in America. We're the richest country in the world, and the fact that there are minority families in this country, it doesn't even matter if they're minority. We've got lots of poor people in this country. I lived in West Virginia. I lived in one of the poorest counties, or near one of the poorest counties in America, in West Virginia. And those are white people. It doesn't matter, poverty doesn't know a race. And the fact that, if we could help those families rise up, help those families get a leg up, get out of poverty. Everyone wants to make fun of these other countries and talk about socialized medicine and talk about, oh, Canada's giving everyone $2,000 a month right now during this pandemic. Well, you wouldn't want to go to Canada because they're socialized. Do you know how many people would love to be in Canada right now and be able to get $2,000 a month and have their health care taken care of and provided for? I'm telling you, the people that want to criticize European healthcare don't know what they're talking about. They don't. You need to get your facts right. Where you can, with a small, like a $5 copay, and have your entire medical taken care of, and by the way, a national database, so they know when you had your shots last. They have all of those records taken care of for you digitally. Way more advanced than the United States. Don't tell me that I would rather, I'm going to lose my doctor. That's that argument. That's such garbage. I'm going to lose my doctor? Okay. Really? What, are you married to your doctor? Give me a break. Come on, man. Shelley Roden says, Canada is awesome. I'm considering moving there. Yeah, a lot of people are. Speaking to, and these are facts, speaking to the different embassy, the different consulates, they're saying they've never seen as many Americans wanting to leave right now. They've never seen it before because of this. I just hope, this idea that, oh, America's the greatest country in the world. Okay, why don't you start trying to prove it? Just start proving it. That's all. Just show me. Show me. You know, you go through all these cities that have, you know, people just sleeping on the streets. I'm telling you, you go to Iceland, you go to Denmark, you go to Portugal, you don't have it. You don't have people sleeping on the streets. You have zero drug crime. I'm telling you, study up on it. Why have so many states attorneys generals in the United States flown into Lisbon, Portugal to meet and find out how in the world they got rid of drug crime? Yeah, you've had multiple states attorney generals flying in like, oh my gosh, how'd you guys do it? I mean, the truth hurts, but we don't want to lift up that rock and see that lizard sitting there, because we just, it's easier to live in our bubble sometimes. So, sorry I went off on that tangent, but I think it's important. I get tired of people telling me what I believe. I think it's wrong. You never know what someone fully believes. And you cannot sum somebody up with just one little label. He's a liberal, he's a leftist, he's a conservative, you know, he's a socialist, he's a Republican. What does it mean? There's so many nuances to human beings. You know, I thought what Trump did on taxes, in large part, was very important for businesses. Our tax code for businesses was so way too high. Way too high. And so the fact that we had businesses coming back to the United States because Trump was able to get that tax plan through for businesses and lower that effective tax rate, brought businesses back and were able to put some money back into the economy. But also, many people could criticize the fact that it's a tax cut for rich people and did nothing for the little person. You know, I just want to say this about Donald Trump. You know, I've interviewed him probably 40 times before he was president and while he was president. And all you need to do is look at him over the past few years before he became president to know that he is a Democrat. He has been a liberal like his entire life. So this argument that he's just putting on a show, come on. He's just putting on a show. You know it and I know it. It's just a show, okay? He's totally pretending. He's a showman. He doesn't believe any of this. And those around him know it. Those close to him know it. It's absolutely the case. Just look at his statements over the years on everything from abortion to gay marriage to the Clintons to, I mean, he's praised Kamala Harris. Okay? He's donated to Kamala Harris twice. So has Ivanka. They've donated money to run for her to run in California as Attorney General and praised her. Okay? Give me a break. Okay? What's changed? So then you can conveniently now pretend like something's changed with her? What's changed with her? Exactly. Totally playing a role. It's totally playing a role. Okay, make no mistake about it. Anyone who tells you otherwise is full of it, and they know it's easy to fall in line and play that role. You can hit these certain key points, right? He knew that by talking to those people in the Midwest that were having their jobs going to China, he knew that Republicans in the major Republican Party weren't talking about it. So he was able to say, this war in Iraq and Afghanistan was a disaster, George W. Bush. And no other Republican would say that. That's like, oh my gosh, we can't say that because of all of our defense contracts. We can't say that. Are you kidding me? You're talking down against war? Republicans love war. What is he doing? But you know what? Most Americans don't like war. So he's there. He came out during the election in 2016 and said this was the biggest disaster and went right after Jeb Bush for it. You know, your brother got us into two of the worst wars in American history. But they're still continuing, right? I mean, let's be honest, they're still going on. But nevertheless, he was able to hit and strike a chord. And so that's what this first night of the RNC was all about. It was all about shoring up that base, reminding people of why they voted for him in 2016, and seeing if they could get him to vote, seeing if they could get them to vote again. Let's see. We'll see. Don Jr. last night, you know, saying that his father has, you know, done miraculous things with COVID-19. Went on and on to praise his father, and I guess, you know, what is a son to do but praise his father? To say that what he's done on taxes has been amazing, what he's done for the small business, he's done for the African American community. How many African Americans, Black Americans do we have watching right now in the chat, or people of color? Let me know and just say, I think he's done an amazing thing for me, or no. Yes or no? I saw one of my viewers, black gentleman, said, all this guy does is spew racism and hate. Elder J says no. Christine Davis says no. Brenda A says no. Fran Etta says no, no, no. Joel says yes, more money in my paycheck. Okay, because he cut the payroll taxes. So he cut payroll taxes. Yeah, and also when I see him like wanting to kiss the American flag, you know, when he like walked, I mean, come on. I just sort of, I mean, I laughed. I mean, he walked up to that American flag on that stage that one day that was on a post, and he wrapped his arms around it and started kissing it. I was like, come on, really? His payroll tax cut helped. Yeah. Done nothing. Okay. A lot of you said, okay, the one area that he's helped was with his payroll tax cut. So we're going to go into taxes now. Let me talk about Biden's taxes here. Let me talk about Biden's tax plan. So last night we got a sense of what Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden said, that if he wins the presidency in November's election, he will raise taxes on Americans who earn more than $400,000 a year. Let me know in the chat, do you agree with this? $400,000 a year. He's going to raise taxes on those who make more than $400,000 a year. Now, I want to be very clear about something. And why it's so, I need to sit back. This is killing my back. Sorry, folks. I need to sit back here. Okay, this is better. Ooh, I'm sitting up on an Adirondack chair. Ooh, my back is killing me, and I don't feel well. That's not a good combination. Okay. Let me just paint a picture for you about other countries in Europe and other places, Norway, Denmark, where you have effective tax rates that are near 50%. They're also listed as the happiest countries in the world. Why? Because everything is taken care of for them. Okay? So I'm just putting that out there. Not as my belief and philosophy, but as to understand, when you have that effective tax rate so high, everything is taken care of. I mean, the roads are, you never see a piece of trash anywhere. Okay, the roads are all taken care of. The infrastructure is taken care of. Your healthcare is taken care of. Your schooling is taken care of. And people don't want to leave, and their life expectancy is higher than America. And people don't want to leave those countries. Fact. Fact. So, I'm just asking you, $400,000. $400,000 is what is Vice President Joe Biden's plan is. $400,000 in a year. If you make, those who make, yes. And my friend just sent me a message. My friend Bo said, also, you're not worried about losing your job and your health care on top of that. So how many Americans right now have lost their job and then they lost their health care as a result? People in Europe, if they've lost their job, they're taken care of. They're provided for. Yes, the taxes might be higher in certain European countries and Canada. But guess what? they're taken care of. So I want you to start to think more globally with this. Do your research on it. Don't just listen to Republican or Democratic talking points, okay? Do your own research about it. If you really do your own research about it, and don't listen to just Fox News, and don't just listen to MSNBC, really dive into it, you will learn that there are other countries that have a higher life expectancy. They're the happiest countries in the world. They have healthcare taken care of for them. They have college kids that don't want to abandon their country and they stay, like in Denmark and Norway and Portugal and other places. They want to stay in those countries. So Joe Biden, let's get back to his tax plan last night. $400,000 a year. In an interview last night with David Muir on ABC, he said explicitly, I will raise taxes for anybody making over $400,000 a year. He said, let me tell you why I'm going to do it. It's about time they start paying a fair share of the economic responsibility that we have. The very wealthy should pay a fair share. Corporations should pay a fair share. Meanwhile, small businesses and individuals that make less than $400,000 per year will see no change to their taxes, according to Biden's plan. In addition, Biden's plan would change the tax rules around the 401k. Under the current rules, contributions are not taxed in the year they are contributed, but rather taxed in the withdrawal at the owner's current tax rate. Biden instead proposes to equalize the system by offering a flat tax credit for each dollar saved so that the tax burden at withdrawal is not unduly burdensome on some people and not others. How much that flat tax would be is up for speculation, but this could significantly alter the use value of the 401k. As it stands right now, workers are hit with an often hefty tax bill when they withdraw on the retirement plan that they work so hard for. Experts speculate that the flat tax would hover around 26%. Now, I have a couple of things to say about this tax plan. When people talk about, oh yeah, we have this breaking news on the Hurricane Laura is now roaring towards the Gulf Coast. How many people are in the Gulf Coast right now? Hoping and praying for you guys right now. You guys taking precautions, I hope. When people talk about taxing the wealthy, what they mean is they're talking about taxing those people that earn through a W-2 paycheck, a W-2 job, doctors, lawyers who make over $400,000 a year. Now, it's unclear how he could do this to corporations other than a capital gains tax hike, perhaps. But what you must understand is, this is why I want you to have financial intelligence, because if you have your own business and you earn passive income and you are investing, you are a business that invests, you are not in the same tax bracket as someone who works for a W-2 job and is a doctor or a lawyer. So those are the people that will get their taxes increased through a payroll tax hike under a Biden plan. But if you're like me and you own real estate, and I'm a real estate investor, and that's my company, it's not going to hit me. Unless, and I don't pay capital gains because I don't sell my properties. I buy them and I hold them forever because of the cash flow. That's what I try to teach people to do. So the passive income investment as a self-employed business owner is different than if you are a W-2 paycheck employee. And so it's very important. If I don't teach you anything else on this channel, I say that if you can, please start to think about building a business for yourself, even if it's just a website, even if it's a blog that you start. By starting an LLC and starting to run your expenses through that LLC, like your internet access, the things at home where you're building this business and you're starting to actually build something, you are in a different tax bracket than you are if you are a doctor or a lawyer. I mean, how many doctors do I have watching right now? Let me know. Are you a doctor? Let me know. Just say it in the chat. Let me know. Because what happens is when you understand, when we teach like doctors that are you a lawyer, Malcolm? Okay. Do you make more than $400,000 a year? Cindy, you're a doctor? Okay. So you're the one that's going to get hit with higher taxes. But what you need to understand is that if you have a spouse, that you can then have them become a real estate professional which just means the only thing it means is that they have to show that they are working in the real estate field for 750 hours a year. So Texas, here's a perfect example. Trex the host, my fiance is a doctor. Okay, perfect example. If you're not working or you're unemployed, or all it takes is one spouse or one partner to become a real estate professional. So if you become a real estate professional in your family, all that means is you have to show 750 hours a year that you are working in the real estate field. Meaning, oh no, breaking news on this Jacob Blake out of Wisconsin. He's paralyzed from the waist down. And he has 8 holes in his body. So they severed his spine in front of his 3 kids when they shot him in Wisconsin. Oh. Sorry, I just had to read that breaking news. Sorry. Yes, Rich Dad's cash flow quadrant. So pay attention to that. If you have a spouse who is a doctor or a lawyer, and the other spouse, maybe he's not working or doesn't need to because they don't, the husband or wife makes enough money as a doctor, you can dramatically change your money in your family by having one member of your family become a real estate professional. That doesn't even mean that you need to become a real estate agent. All it means is that you need to start becoming a real estate investor and studying real estate every week, taking hours where you go and research properties, etc. 750 hours per year. Then you are now one member of your family as a real estate professional, dramatically changes your tax bracket. And so now what happens is to that doctor or lawyer, they're going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars on their taxes. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I want you to understand that when we talk about taxing the wealthy, it's not about taxing passive investors. It's about taxing, it's not about taxing Warren Buffett. It's not about taxing Donald Trump. It's not about taxing those people. It's about taxing people that earn a W-2 paycheck and those payroll taxes. You must understand that. Anybody from 400,000 and above. So I just want you to understand that. That's Biden's tax plan. Let me know your thoughts on it in the chat below. I want to talk a little bit now about the stimulus and why a large number of Americans right now are going to be left in the lurch without a stimulus plan. A large number. So the latest news that we're getting on the stimulus plan today, folks, is a little scary, and it's pretty ominous. Based on the timelines, I am not confident that we are going to see a stimulus plan before Election Day. I also don't think that we're going to see additional stimulus checks before Election Day, just based on the timeline, based on the fact that we're up against an election wall and all of these people out campaigning. Anyone who's running for re-election, even though Congress is called back into session, those people get special provisions to keep campaigning, even though they're supposed to be back in Washington. The president is going to be campaigning like crazy. We are up against an election wall and a timeline with Congress, the Senate not coming back till the middle of September, basically. No agreement at all on this, even though by all accounts a few weeks ago I would have said, without a doubt, we are going to see a new stimulus. And let me just give you some of the current data on this. That a large number of Americans have less emergency savings, according to new data out this morning, than they did at the start of the coronavirus pandemic. Despite the initial offer of that stimulus basically helping everyone in those stimulus checks, a new poll out this morning has found that most people have way less in savings than they did at the beginning of this. The latest survey from Bankrate found that a little more than a third of Americans reported having lower emergency savings as extra unemployment assistance was set to expire, and the first round of stimulus checks have been spent. They're spent. I don't know how many of you got a stimulus check that haven't spent it or used it. By comparison right now, only 13% of U.S. adults said they had more savings than when the COVID-19 pandemic began. 16% told pollsters that they felt very comfortable with their emergency saving balance right now. 16%? Some 47% of Americans said their emergency savings accounts were in the same state as they were before the crisis. Basically, according to Bankrate, more Americans have some emergency savings socked away, but what they have isn't enough to give them a warm and fuzzy feeling right now with so much economic carnage right now. And we are facing just a disaster. But I don't believe, folks, we're going to see a stimulus. Let me just go through some of the reasons why right now. And the reasons for passing a second stimulus bill are as strong as they've ever been, probably stronger than they were a month ago. We saw jobs numbers last week, which were not good. We have unemployment, which has run out, of course. We saw August 15th, that number of new claims for unemployment spiked to 1.1 million, up from 963,000. Clearly, unemployment remains a major issue for stimulus. The current level of new claims is more than 4 times the 250,000 per week before the shutdown. And the number of people dependent on government benefits related to unemployment continues to be staggeringly high. 28 million people, according to Forbes. That's how many people are receiving some form of government unemployment benefit, according to the Labor Department right now. So, obviously, we're not out of the unemployment woods at all. Housing, there's another troubling area. Many households have been in forbearance since the crisis began back in March. And many people are being faced with rent problems right now that they cannot pay rent. The eviction moratorium has basically ended in a lot of states. So people are being forced to basically be thrown out of their homes. And even though the White House economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, has hinted of an extension of this, that provision's expiration has allowed landlords right now to file eviction notices, though they won't be able to push out people for at least another 30 days. So these eviction notices have already been filed. We are on the precipice, folks, of a major eviction disaster in this country in a few weeks. And there doesn't seem to be any sort of extension from the federal government on this. Now, remember, this was all passed in the HEROES Act. This was all inside of the HEROES Act a few months ago, which was passed back in May. Eviction moratoriums, rental assistance, and landlord assistance. COVID-19 cases. Here's another reason why we need pandemic assistance. Since we've seen some of it start to decline, that's good. We're still like at 50,000 cases a day. I mean, God knows, in Italy or in South Korea, or was it Italy? They've been concerned about that they had 1,000 cases a day, and they're starting to clamp back down again because of the young people going to nightclubs. We have 50,000 a day, and Italy's worried about 1,000. So, until COVID-19 is in full retreat, the U.S. economy still remains incredibly vulnerable right now. Congress may not be able to make the virus go away anytime soon, but extending unemployment benefits to people and extending new stimulus payments to people is exactly what we need right now, so we can help minimize this economic impact. We already have the data on how effective these numbers have been by having people make sure that they are able to pay their bills during this pandemic and kept people out of poverty. We know that data. So, the Trump administration, of course, to their credit, they stepped up with these, executive orders. Some of them had some teeth, some of them didn't. And basically, it's on the states to kind of put these things in place. At least upwards of 30 states said they're going to be able to put this unemployment benefits claim piece in place, but they won't start going out until the 29th of August. And even then, it's only going to last about 3 weeks. So, good, right? It's better than nothing right now. But at $400 a week, and it's going to run out in just a few short weeks, and there's no further stimulus plan, no stimulus checks, nothing, no Senate approval of anything. This is it. This is all we're looking for. But I'm saying I really think that all of these economic headwinds that the economy is facing, I don't see that there's any incentive in the Senate. I don't think there's any incentive in the Senate right now for them to pass a stimulus. It comes down to the Senate, folks. There seems to be little incentive for them to do it. Here's one theory, though, being floated, is that the Senate will come back with more motivation after their recess because they'll have talked to their members of their constituents while they're home. Aaron Rich says, you look under the weather. Are you okay? No, I'm not. I'm actually really sick. I don't feel well at all. I caught whatever my son and my wife had, and they were in bed for days, like some sort of stomach bug. So I feel like absolute garbage, to be honest with you. So, but I said, I've got to do a show. Got to do a show. No, I don't have COVID. In fact, I just got a COVID test, actually. Negative, by the way. But no, I just got some sort of stomach bug, but I do not feel good. So I'm pushing through, and I'm sweating for no reason. So, but anyway, enough about me. The one theory is that the Senate will come back after they've talked to their constituents, and that they'll have some sort of incentive now to pass a plan. But look, they've been on vacation multiple times. I don't see that they would have come back since May. They would have come down multiple times from their vacations, and they would have been more incentivized to do this. I just don't see it happening. But, you know, I thought the Senate would act. I really did. I had hope in them. I've been wrong. I really thought that they would have gotten their act together. But the Senate really, really failed. I mean, at a high level. You know, again, the Democrats passed the HEROES Act. Yes, there was plenty of liberal bloat in that HEROES Act. Great. Use that as a starting point. Whittle some of those things away. But instead, you go the opposite direction, say we're not going to even look at it, it's dead on arrival, and then start floating your own garbage for liability insurance and other things like that. Yeah, FBI building was in your plan, that new FBI building. Like, all of that was in your plan. The point is right now, though, it's premature to make plans for getting a second stimulus check. I'm just saying right now, I don't see it happening. At this point, I just want to say this, there will be no stimulus check in August, without a doubt, okay? Now, the question remains, will we see one maybe in October, right before the election? It's possible, but do you think with the political situation right now that we've got in our country, that we're going to see another stimulus plan right before the election day? I don't. And then that means the next best hope is going to be 2021, that we would see another stimulus. 2021. Because remember what happens in October, and this is why I'm saying the timeline, folks. Remember what happens is that Congress goes on vacation. Again, they go on vacation through the Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday. They're gone. They come back for just to keep the government running with some emergency, budget. They've got to pass a budget next week. Here's the thing. Congress has to pass a budget before they do anything. Otherwise, the government shuts down next week or in 2 weeks. That's what they have to do. That's a first priority. That's even more of a priority, frankly, than the stimulus. They have to pass a budget. And then they could maybe tackle the stimulus. So I am not hopeful of any kind of stimulus plan at this point, folks. I'm not. And I'd be surprised if we even get this Postal Service $25 billion bill through. The president wants 5 or 6 things added on top of that, in addition to the stimulus, in addition to this Postal Service stuff. But I would be really surprised. I have frankly lost all faith. But again, I don't think the Republican-controlled Senate has any incentive at all right now to pass more stimulus. I don't. Unless these Republican senators go home during this recess, these Trump supporters, and they're basically saying, hey, I know I'm a Republican, but I'm suffering. I need stimulus. I need some sort of an unemployment benefit. I need a stimulus check. And these Republican senators come back and say, look, it's not just Democrats that need this, it's Republicans too. But I just don't see that happening. They just do not want to spend the money. Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, they've said, what are we doing? We shouldn't be spending a dime. So, yes, I need to go to bed. I do not feel well. So that is your latest stimulus update. I do not think we're going to see a stimulus anytime soon. And these new numbers showing how people do not have enough in savings to keep them afloat. Unemployment is just crushing people right now, the lack of unemployment benefits. And the eviction moratorium, which is about to hit in the next few weeks, folks. I mean, we are, as someone said here, perhaps a failed state. And perhaps we need to burn it all down to build it back up again. But do your own research on this, folks. Really pay attention to what's going on in the rest of the world and how they've managed to survive this and do much better than the United States. but we need help in this country. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already subscribed, thank you so much. Thank you for putting up with me being sick to do the show and looking like death warmed over. So please, thank you so much for smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate it. Again, we're going to try to have a show for you tomorrow as we head back home. And it just depends on timing once I get back to my main studio. Oh yeah, my son says, smash the like button. God bless you guys. Much love to all of you. Thank you guys for everything. And we'll be back tomorrow with day 2 of the Republican National Convention. We'll see if there's any more doom and gloom from the night. And we'll see if they can paint any kind of a positive picture. We'll see. All right, much love to all of you. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone.